And with every push of moisture we have coming in, it gets colder and colder. It reinforces that very cold air in place for the northwest. So we're now defining a little bit more of a rotational center with this storm. It was very unorganized the last couple of days, but we've been watching it. We have a digging trough out to the west that's going to shoot that moisture up. 55, that's still warmer than what we should be for this time of year. We're on the cooling trend, but still.
You think with that 64 in Chicago, there's going to be a lot of people out in shorts today? You think that's going to be warm enough?
I'm sure. It's a Midwestern thing.
Take
as soon as you
right?
hit 60 degrees, you're in shorts. Not a ton of moisture, and so that's what we have working against us. So we have the extreme fire outlook in effect. We have the critical and elevated fire risk from San Diego all the way up to Bakersfield. You get the push, that southerly wind crashing in with some cooler or at least milder air, and that allows the storms to force themselves to rise faster. You factor in any kind of moisture in this area, and it's going to feel even hotter than that. This system, as it brings the severe weather to the south, will be bringing impacts as far north as the Great Lakes as well into our Saturday night. And there are some back roads that still have some ice melt still coming off, so easily seeing maybe some refreezing when you get a little bit of evaporative cooling in some of these spots
nice
too.
Term. Nice.
This could shift just a little bit, so if you get under several hours of heavy and steady rain, that's going to give you that flooding threat. So the blizzard conditions that you need, falling or blowing snow, doesn't necessarily need to be falling out of the sky, but winds sustained upwards or equal to 35 miles an hour or greater. Heavy wet snow into the overnight hours, so by the time we get into the morning, that most likely will have moved away. And you'll notice that we do start to see those temperatures drop as the rain moves in, creeping in. Minneapolis goes from 94 to 80, so almost refreshing out there. Yeah, they're saying that they haven't had this much snow forecasted this early since the 1930s.
Yep, been a long time.
We keep the snow that's out there now lingering just into tomorrow morning, into Sunday morning, and then the next batch moves in. That high pressure is moving to the west, and that has initiated excessive heat watches and excessive heat warnings preemptively for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I did this polar plunge in Indianapolis because that's where I grew up, and so this is at the Eagle Creek Lake. You run into the beach and run out, and when I did it, they cut the ice out, and so yeah, it was not fun. I won't do it again either. And Galveston's on the backside of all of the frontal boundary and all of the tropical moisture moving onshore, but you can still see cloudy skies in this region. So going forward, we're going to start to see improving conditions from west to east as this front that's brought all of that heavy rain into portions of Oklahoma, the snow into Texas as of yesterday. That's going to help steer Olga and all of that moisture as well. So we're now defining a little bit more of a rotational center with this storm. It was very unorganized the last couple of days, but we've been watching it, and so now we're going to be watching as this starts to move onshore. Gusty winds associated with it, but as it moves onshore and it latches onto that frontal boundary, it's going to give us a couple of days of heavy rain all the way from the Gulf up towards the Great Lakes. So even into Flint, Michigan and Grand Rapids, we're going to be dealing with the heavy rain threat as we go into the weekend. On top of that, we have that tornado watch that remains in effect until 9 p.m. this evening. It's been extended in time, not in location. Same areas that are seeing the tornadoes out there this afternoon, getting those warnings, still likely that we could have them even past sunset, as this is an area that's highlighted by the Storm Prediction Center for elevated risks embedded within these storms for any of them to rotate. Going forward, we're watching as these flash flood watches start to creep farther to the north, western Tennessee being added into that, the boot heel of Missouri, southern Illinois, even western portions of Kentucky. Fort Smith still holds on to those flash flood watches, and this is again because of how much moisture is associated with not only Olga but also the frontal system, adding that extra lift, adding that extra force to allow these storms to grow. As we go into Friday, you'll notice that highlighted right along the Mississippi is where we have that best chance for some of these heavier downpours. Going into Saturday, that threat moves to the north with the center of this storm Saturday into Sunday, so Toledo back to Pittsburgh could be dealing with some heavy rain at times. So putting that forecast into motion, you'll notice here comes the center of the storm by late Friday night, still keeping steady and heavy rain showers all along the Mississippi River Valley, getting close to the Ohio River Valley and remaining in effect farther to the north into the day on Saturday. So it will be a wet start. St. Louis to Indianapolis, back over to Lexington as we get into Saturday, and that sticks around. But let's get one last check on the Viper radar. And right now we're looking at Mobile, Alabama, where again, the overcast skies and the rain showers continue. Yeah, good on those people that love skiing enough just to get out in this very strong wind, reduced visibility while snow is falling and blowing. But again, as Steve mentioned, we have a parade of storms that will be coming onshore from the Pacific Northwest. So we keep the snow that's out there now lingering just into tomorrow morning, into Sunday morning. And then the next batch moves in. Heavy Cascade snow to the east of the I-5, heavy rain along the west of the I-5 closer to the coast. It'll be very gusty with that system as well. Then we have some lingering snow from this system into the mountains as we go into Monday and Tuesday. So it's marching west to east. And then another one, the next frontal boundary, the new plume of moisture will be moving onshore as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, which will once again bring back heavy rain along the I-5 corridor and heavy snow into the higher elevations, the Cascades and the Rockies, as you move again farther inland with the system pushing with it. So overnight tonight, some lingering snow showers, especially into the mountains as you go into Oregon, Idaho, Montana. Here comes that next batch of moisture, so it'll be a quick mover, re-enhancing some of the snow into the mountains. That's gone by the end of the day on Sunday. New moisture coming in and lingering overnight into the mountains, and so we have the rain along the coast, more mountain snow taking over into the overnight hours Monday into Tuesday, and then here comes that next batch. So it's almost as if one moves away that kind of pulls in the next one. It's just like a parade of storms that we keep talking about, even as we go into Wednesday morning. So we're going to see several feet of snow as you get up in elevation, but it's not going to fall all at once. We could see a foot here, a foot the next day, a foot the next day. So that gives us upwards of 3 feet in some spots. As you go from purples to pinks, that's about 6 to 12 inches. And then as you get into the deeper colors, the oranges, the tans, the whites, that's giving us those extra feet of snow. And with every push of moisture we have coming in, it gets colder and colder. It reinforces that very cold air in place for the Northwest. But we're also watching as these move out of the Northwest, where they're headed into the central portions of the country too.